4 actors had secret underground tunnels directly from their homes to the Playboy Mansion.
Whoa.
Jack Nicholson, James Caan, Warren Beatty, and Kirk Douglas.
Sex trafficking, forced labor, interstate transportation for purposes of prostitution, coercion and enticement to engage in prostitution, narcotics offenses, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice.
Tunnels leading to a private grotto.
And is it the Playboy Mansion? Because I know the Playboy Mansion for sure.
No,
had tunnel.
it's his own house.
A few weeks earlier, during a hearing in Manhattan's federal court, one of Sean Diddy Combs' attorneys, Anthony Apatozic, Rico, quietly handed the judge a brief motion and then abruptly exited the courtroom. No explanation, no statement. Just the motion, which read, "Under no circumstances can I continue to effectively serve as counsel for Sean Combs." He didn't include any other details, citing attorney-client privilege. Rico emphasized that his departure wouldn't interfere with the scheduled May 5th trial date, although losing a lead attorney so close to opening arguments nearly always causes disruption. This brings us to a new and puzzling question. Did a leak involving secret underground tunnels just upend Diddy's legal defense? Early this morning, FBI agents reportedly uncovered a tunnel in Combs' residence that links to the basement of a property once owned by Michael Jackson. There are claims of a hidden underground structure beneath the mansion. Authorities, reportedly, found unsettling items, including children's clothing, scattered on the floor.
Lawyer for Sean Diddy Combs has quit, leaving the rapper's legal team ahead of his sex trafficking trial. In New York federal court, Anthony Rico filed a motion to withdraw as one of Diddy's 6 defense lawyers yesterday. He didn't give an explanation, but wrote, "Under no circumstances can I continue to effectively serve as counsel." He did not elaborate as to why. A judge still has to sign off on the request. Sean Diddy Combs faces charges including sex trafficking. He has pleaded not guilty.
One of the lawyers representing Sean Diddy Combs in his sex trafficking case is quitting. Anthony Rico filed notice in Manhattan federal court Thursday, writing, quote, "Under no circumstances can I continue to effectively serve as counsel." Rico, one of 6 attorneys for the music mogul, did not offer any other details. Combs has pleaded not guilty to the charges, saying he did nothing wrong. His trial is set to begin in May.
And here's the swimming pool. So obviously right now you can't make out how big this place actually is, but stick around to the end of this video and we're gonna watch sunrise and check out the exterior. All right, let's see the inside of this place. Okay, I'm walking inside. From the backyard, I stumble upon a dark set of stairs leading down under the house, right into the basement. It smells like mildew here in the basement. It's not a good sign. The air is getting cooler as I walk through the open door, swallowed by the darkness. The faint hum of a machine immediately catches my ear. Perhaps the HVAC system left on to fend off the mold creeping through the lower levels.
Outside the courtroom, this news created a media frenzy. Outlets started pumping out stories, and social media was flooded with theories. Some legal experts speculated that Rico left after encountering something so troubling, something private or possibly dangerous, that he couldn't continue representing Combs. Others think it might be a legal tactic, intended to delay the trial and reset the defense. Behind every theory, one rumor kept resurfacing: underground tunnels, alleged secret passageways connecting Diddy's mansion to other elite estates. No one saw that detail coming. Now, when an attorney steps away from a high-profile case, it's rarely a good sign. Yes, there could be countless reasons. We understand that. But in a case this big, an attorney quitting will always raise eyebrows. Why? Because representing someone famous often elevates a lawyer's career, especially if the client is acquitted. If Diddy walks away from charges like sex trafficking and racketeering, a not guilty verdict would significantly boost his attorneys' reputations. That's the kind of outcome lawyers dream of. It puts them in front of the media and builds their legacy. So, when a lawyer voluntarily walks away, it speaks volumes. Why would a lawyer do that?
Anytime an attorney backs out, that's not a good look. Now, there could be a variety of reasons as to why this happened, and we all get that. I understand that. But anytime an attorney backs out, particularly of a high-profile case like this, is not a good look, and I'm going to tell y'all why. Because if you are an attorney, the more acclaim your client has, the more popularity your client has, The more recognition and notoriety your client has, the more you benefit from a positive outcome in favor of that client. So that client, if Sean Diddy Combs gets off sex trafficking and racketeering charges and the jury finds him not guilty months from now and he's able to walk out the courtroom a free man, you know how good that makes those attorneys look? Everybody will be clamoring for the cameras. An attorney walking away, sometimes it's because they don't get the lead chair or one of the lead chairs. Sometimes it's because a client is lying. Sometimes it's because they believe wholeheartedly that the client is going to be guilty and they don't want to be associated with that guilt because that's a loss on their record. It could be a variety of things, but the fact that we are speculating about that when the trial date hasn't even started yet concerns me, because I'm one of those people, ladies and gentlemen, who firmly believes it's virtually impossible to find a jury that's not contaminated by some kind of information that's been put out to the public before a trial begins.
Potentially, it could be a conflict with the client, right? A disagreement. They just don't get along. The communication is poor. They don't agree on defense strategy. It could be a conflict with one of the other lawyers. Obviously, seems like Agnifilo is the lead on this case, although Rico was certainly his 1B. And I know obviously there's other lawyers on the case. Obviously, a lot of the victims are female. They're going to want female lawyers on the defense team, especially during some of the aggressive cross-examination. That tends to be the conventional wisdom when you're dealing with victims who are alleged victims of sexual assault or abuse. And then it could be a conflict with one of the victims themselves. Maybe maybe Rico consulted with them or even represented them in such a way that he has to get off the case. So it could be any number of potential conflicts.
Anthony Rico has been part of Diddy's defense team since September. So he appeared in court with Diddy when he was first arraigned and pled not guilty to the charges. And Anthony has been kind of this almost kind of public kind of support figure for Diddy as his lawyer. In court, he stands up and points out that Diddy's, children have traveled long distances to be there. He sits next to Diddy, during the hearing, they're talking, they're laughing. So they seem to have kind of a more personal relationship maybe than with, Diddy's other lead defense attorneys who are kind of the ones up in front of the judge. And this past week, he just suddenly files a motion saying that he's withdrawing from the case. And there's not too much detail given, but clearly there was a fork in the road about, something having to do with this case. And he says, like he heard that under no circumstances can he effectively serve as his defense counsel.
It seems that embattled music mogul Sean Diddy Combs is selling his L.A. mansion. The Homely Hills estate was the site of a federal raid that Fox 11 first broke back in March. According to TMZ, Combs is looking to sell the off-market for $70 million. The raid was part of a sex trafficking investigation, a grand jury now hearing evidence in that probe. Meanwhile, Diddy is still facing several lawsuits linked to multiple sex abuse allegations. Diddy has denied those allegations.
Sometimes it's due to internal disputes over who leads the defense. Other times it could mean the client isn't telling the truth, or maybe the attorney is convinced the client is guilty and doesn't want that stain on their record. The bottom line, when people start speculating like this before the trial even starts, it's a major concern. Then there's the possibility of a breakdown between Rico and Combs. Maybe they weren't getting along. Maybe there was a disagreement on the legal strategy. Or perhaps Rico clashed with other lawyers on the team. Agnif seems to be the lead now, but Rico had a prominent role, perhaps a close second. With most of the victims being female, it's likely that the defense team is prioritizing female attorneys for sensitive cross-examinations. That's often the preferred legal approach in such cases. There's also the possibility that Rico had some previous connection with one of the alleged victims. Maybe he spoke to them or represented them at some point. That would be a serious conflict of interest. Rico had been on Diddy's legal team since last September. He appeared in court when Combs was first arraigned and has been at the rapper's side ever since. He was seen talking and laughing with Diddy, offering what seemed like personal support in addition to legal counsel. Then suddenly, without much explanation, he files to withdraw from the case. The reason? Under no circumstances, he wrote, can I continue to serve? Clearly, something changed, something significant. Meanwhile, Combs appears to be preparing to sell his Los Angeles mansion, the same one raided by federal agents earlier this year. The Holmby Hills estate, according to TMZ, is being listed off-market for a reported $70 million. The raid was tied to the sex trafficking investigation. A grand jury is currently reviewing evidence in that case. Diddy continues to face multiple lawsuits linked to allegations of sexual abuse. He has denied all accusations. However, talk of tunnels exploded on social media. On X, formerly Twitter, users shared aerial images suggesting that Diddy's property sits parallel to Hugh Hefner's famous mansion. Close enough, they claimed, that an underground tunnel could plausibly connect the two. Some even mentioned Michael Jackson's Holmby Hills estate, suggesting an elaborate network of secret passageways beneath the area. These remain unverified, of course, but in the context of a sex trafficking trial, even a rumor like this is explosive. Claims about underground tunnels at Diddy's homes first surfaced via social media accounts like Shadow of Ezra, who alleged that a luxury tunnel existed beneath the rapper's Los Angeles estate. The tunnel, according to these claims, led to a hidden grotto, echoing historical uses of caves by both ancient and modern societies. Again, these are all allegations. There's no concrete proof that a tunnel connects Diddy's property directly to the Playboy Mansion. Still, the repeated mentions of the Playboy Mansion raise questions. Back in the day, specifically about a decade ago, plans were reportedly drawn to build secret underground tunnels to the Playboy Mansion for celebrities like Jack Nicholson, as a way to enter unnoticed during parties and celebrations. You can even see sketches from these proposed tunnel projects. The idea was to provide discreet access to the mansion for high-profile guests, people like Nicholson, Beatty, and Michael Jackson. According to People magazine, these tunnels were sealed off in the late 1980s. Do you believe that? That's the question. An editor for Playboy, while digging through old files and photos, stumbled upon some fascinating finds. In the 1970s and 80s, blueprints and photographs showed extensive excavation work being done around the Playboy Mansion. These images hinted at secret tunnels leading to the homes of celebrities, all within walking distance. Those tunnels were reportedly shut down in 1989, coinciding with Hugh Hefner's marriage to Kimberly Conrad. Hefner reportedly refused to comment on the existence of such tunnels, and representatives for the celebrities involved declined to respond as well. It's one thing to be secretive, it's another to dig tunnels to the Playboy Mansion. And now, we have the Diddy Dungeon theory, about underground tunnels, swimming passageways, and secret rooms under a lavish mansion. Even Michael Jackson's lyrics have been pulled into the speculation. With all this swirling around the case, one thing's for sure, this trial will be anything but ordinary. Stay safe, stay informed.